What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Off the Record. We all love Off the Record here at the Smoking Tire Podcast. You know why? They're here for you. The way Off the Record works is you get a ticket for anything, big, small, or huge. You don't plead guilty. That's for suckers. You go to Off the Record. Off the Record is a service that will connect you to a qualified attorney in the jurisdiction in which you got a ticket, right? You don't have to go to court. You don't have to fight. You don't have to do anything besides make an account at Off the Record and send in a photo, a scan of your ticket, as well as answer a few questions about the circumstances surrounding it. All you have to do is go to offtherecord.com/TST or download the Off the Record app and use code TSTPOD. That's TSTPOD. And we'll give you 10% off all your legal services with Off the Record. That can really add up if you're a heavy user, right? Their success rate is super good. And if they don't get those points off your record, guess what? You don't pay. Offtherecord.com/TST or code TSTPOD on the Off the Record app. All right, on this episode of the podcast, my pal Sam Fane, aka Seen Through Glass, is in studio visiting us from England. We talk about what is the right color for a Ferrari. We talk about air water that's happening in California, which is why he's here. We talk about YouTube content creation strategy, what it's like to road trip an exotic car through Europe and the north of Africa, and a whole lot more. I love this dude. He's a great guy to hang out with. He's a lot of fun. He's always a treat every time I'm on a press launch in Europe to see him. Sam is a clutch player, and he's in studio with us today on the Smoking Tire Podcast.
The table. I mean, but there's some elements in here, I feel like. And then there's some just general sound engineering elements in here. Some, the sound engineering I can copy. I think the U-style stuff, maybe I can't. But
well, you can't.
Skate deck with a marijuana leaf on.
I don't. Yeah,
not that extreme. But
I don't recommend a Smoking Tire logo for your studio. But you
actually, I recommend that.
I do. Yeah, actually, now that you think about it,
I'm exclusively styled by IKEA or IKEA. That's everything in my office.
Dude, IKEA's all right. IKEA's okay.
It's affordable.
Yeah,
no problem.
And
what you don't want is secondhand IKEA.
Yeah,
I've done that.
It goes together once.
Doesn't travel.
It doesn't
well.
travel
No,
well.
you're right. There's always some bolts missing.
Right.
Hard to get the parts to replace them.
Right.
Yeah.
Almost like a Turo 911S.
Hey, I've had it for 30 minutes.
It'll probably be fine.
Far, probably.
It will probably be fine.
How long's the drive from here to Beverly Hills?
25, 30 minutes. You staying in Beverly Hills?
It's about 20 minutes too long, isn't it, in that car?
Yeah.
I am staying
Are
in
we
Beverly
live?
Hills.
Yes.
We
wow.
exist.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, fucking get in the radio zone, Sam.
A little bit more coffee.
Little blue bottle.
Yeah.
You got a blue bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
You know Amma, who helps with PTSRS? Do you know him?
Oh, yeah, I know that guy.
He's my coffee guy.
Oh, okay.
Anywhere in the US that I
You
am,
just needed
I'm
a recommendation? I could have given you a
I
recommendation.
know, but he's my
You have a coffee consigliere.
Concierge.
Yeah.
Literally.
Sure.
So he said, send me a pin, I'll tell you the best place to go nearby. So.
We have we use a basic coffee pot here because we go through so much coffee that we always want to have. But my general manager pretty much has like carte blanche to buy the good beans. So we probably buy $300 to $400 in coffee a month.
Oh my God.
Our coffee budget. I'm like showing. I'm like, yeah, the lifts are really expensive. It's like actually, what we're doing here. The reason we're so expensive at Westside Collector Car Storage is because of a $400 a month coffee budget. That's why.
Hey, it's the most important thing to spend money on.
That's why. I was at my brother-in-law's house the other day, and he's like, I'm really into like pour over, and I'm like, you know that like my basic ass brew machine is an automatic pour over, right? Like that's what it does.
It's become a new fad, though.
Pour over?
Pour over. At least in the UK.
No, it is here too.
It is here
because
too,
it's like
okay.
artsy. It's
Yeah,
like
but like-
It does
thing,
taste
it's a
better,
thing
though.
to do.
You think it tastes better?
I think your brother-in-law's coffee tastes better than what Eric makes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But that could be the grounds. That could be the age of the grounds. It could be a lot of factors.
Yeah,
But I understand what you're saying.
Adam uses a scale. I mean, he weighs the shit out like it's yayo.
Yeah.
He's got this. He's got the scale. He's weighing it to the thousandth of a gram.
Yeah, there are levels, aren't there? Like the coffee
Yeah.
obsession becomes a bit too far. I went on a trip last week, and the guy was telling me he had some builders around, and he's very into his coffee too. And he has this whole machine. He goes, "Guys, you want a coffee?" And it's a very British thing to put on a bit of a builder's accent when you speak to builders. What do you call builders? Like workmen, I guess. Workmen?
Yeah.
Yeah, construction
So you're
guy.
like, guys, how's it going? Want a coffee? And they went, yeah. So he, measured out his beans and did the grind and aerated.
He had
put
it like
all
in the truck, ready to go.
No, so this is a guy who
house.
he had the builders coming into his house.
Oh, okay, yeah,
So he
yeah.
thought, I'm going to give them a coffee. They won't believe this.
Yeah.
They just usually want just like a black from the service station, but no, here we go. Gave them both these coffees. After one sip, they went, oh, what is this? I want some instant stuff. What are you on about?
Yeah,
So
they
you-
have when you have the gas station, like in New York, everyone drinks deli counter gas station coffee, and if you try to get too fancy, it's no good.
Well, give them a flat white. They're buzzing off the walls for like 3 weeks.
They don't know what to do.
They don't know what
No.
to do.
They don't know what to do with that.
If you
yeah,
order
yeah.
that there, they'd throw you out.
Yeah. When we go on press trips to Europe, it's a completely different thing.
Okay.
I don't know why, but like I can have like 75 espressos in Italy or Spain and then go to bed. But if I have 3 in West Los Angeles, I'm going to have a panic attack.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Another level. I also tried Nitro. What was
Oh
Nitro?
yeah, Nitro
yeah.
cold brew. Yeah.
That
yeah.
came out like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. It was when I was
Yeah.
really into the whole like.
It's the intersection of coffee and Guinness.
Okay, sure, yes, and
But it has
crack
3
cocaine.
times the caffeine
Yeah.
of black coffee.
Yeah,
cold
yeah.
Brew, cold brew does.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
you gotta
the
watch
peak
out.
is unbelievable. the crash,
God.
the crash
it's
is
really bad.
horrific.
It's really bad.
But the peak, I was like, I'm doing this every day.
And
Yeah.
yet MDMA illegal.
yeah. Can you believe it? Yeah.
The world's got it all wrong.
It's really I don't know, does nitro itself add to the strength of it? It's
I don't
just the
believe so.
delivery.
Yeah.
It just gives it that
Okay.
beer tap foam head versus it's just regular cold brew.
Yeah.
But then they store it in like a keg and
But
they
that must-
pressurize it with nitrogen.
It doesn't intensify it at all.
I don't think so.
I
But
don't
cold
think
brew
so.
is already like 3 times stronger than black coffee.
Cold brew is real strong.
Maybe I was just hallucinating.
But it's so
Maybe.
delicious. Like the nitro, you're like, oh, I want 16 ounces of this.
Yeah.
And then
It's fucking
you're
good,
grinding your
man.
teeth.
It's good.
This coffee podcast was brought to you by.
Dude, we've gone through the rounds of the
Okay.
coffee here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. I'm in familiar.
We've gone through the grounds. As it
Oh,
were. And I'll
Zach,
leave now.
thank you. Tap out. What brings you to town?
Multiple things. I guess primarily
Air, water.
Is it air and water or just air water?
I think it's just air water. I
Air
think this. I think the
water,
vertical
the slash.
the vertical slash is silent.
I don't want to go around saying, "Hey, I'm here for air/water."
Yeah, it's like a J. It's just you just don't say.
You just don't say yogging. I had some back seats installed in my GT3 at the start
Oh
of the
yeah,
year.
right.
By a company based out here, they're called GT3 Belts, and they're doing more and more conversions for GT3s,
Yeah.
RSs, Dakars, and stuff. And they said, "Look, we've got a stall at Air Water. Would you like just want to come and hang out?" And I was like, "Hell's yeah, I want to come and hang out." So I extended the trip a little bit, and as you maybe, I don't think we were recording at that point, touched on, I'm here in a dodgy rental 911S.
I couldn't believe that you actually got that on Turo. It from across the street when I saw you pull up, I was like, "Damn, that thing is hot."
Here he is.
Shit is low and what? It's like a lime gold.
Yeah, it's definitely a
Pretty gold.
gold.
It's
very-
gold with
I
like
think
a
it's-
hint of green in it. Maybe
Oh, I
orange.
saw a hint of orange.
I'm colorblind, so you're probably right.
I was going to say lime, definitely not, but I didn't want to
Okay.
be rude. Okay, what is your perception of churro as American/Californians? Like, how do you view
Turo is good.
Okay, good. Okay,
Turo is good. Yeah, yeah.
Because I've only had amazing experiences with it.
I wouldn't use it to rent a whatever car, but if I want to have a specialized experience, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think really since I've been coming specifically to LA since like 2016, almost every trip I've done a Turo.
Well, and just I mean, as one might imagine, Turo in Los Angeles has a lot more interesting options than Turo in many other places.
Yes, even the UK because they did launch in the UK.
Oh yeah, okay.
Wasn't great.
No good, not good.
Not good.
Oh, bummer.
Was it the condition
That
of
was
the cars that was the problem, or
I think people
Just the
didn't
selection.
get the model or the idea. You know, I mean, I guess it took a while for them to get up and running here, but I always found, like I say, I was a fairly early adopter here because it must have been, 2015, 2016. They must have been not that old.
Is
so
Airbnb a big thing in the UK?
Yeah, huge.
Huh, but okay.
Just the concept just
Could make
didn't.
the
I think people are untrusting in the UK. People don't understand why would I put my car and let somebody else drive it? We've just got into this thing called Just Park. Do you have that here?
Is that is that Airbnb for parking spaces?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can rent out your driveway or parking space.
Right,
Even councils are doing it now.
We have something like that here. I don't know what it's called, but you can do it.
So people are really getting on board
Park
with that
share
now.
or some shit like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Turo just didn't. No one put cars on. It's basically the long and the short of it. In the UK, there were never good cars. Like really boring stuff. But here, you're right. It's been some good stuff. I did a Maserati, the new Gran Turismo Trofeo in New York.
Really?
A couple of months ago.
You
Yeah.
Turo'd that?
I Turo'd that.
I saw your Instagram post. I assumed it was a press car.
So did Shmi 150.
You could have got that as a press car.
Yeah, my relationship with Maserati isn't as.
It's not great.
Not great. So I just, I don't want to go.
It could be that up until recently, their cars weren't good.
Well, that
could have been
didn't
that.
help.
Yeah. The recent, I gotta say, with the Grecale that we drove, which is like the Macan sized one, the Gran Turismo, and the MC20, all excellent, all very good.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
Still overpriced, but very, very good.
Yeah, but right now, Gran Turismos have like 50 on the hood.
Yeah,
you can get one for what it's actually worth right now.
It's like every department store that says 20% off everything just all the time. I think it's like that.
Yes, always at a discount. Yeah, I aggressively chased a few UK Maserati dealers about a Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
I liked it so much. They were playing hardball, and I was just like, cool.
Just wait them out.
Yeah.
They'll be back.
We're good.
They will be back for sure.
But
that's a good one. We've gotten a couple cars off Turo for videos, like to do comparisons with stuff. So I'm not into Airbnb. I'm not necessarily into renting someone's personal shit unless it's for a very specific thing. But I like a hotel. Sure. I like Enterprise, rent a car.
Okay.
Because there's a big machine there, and if something's not right, I could just swap out the car for another car or change my hotel room, which I'm not a complainer, but you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's it's an institution that I can bitch at.
Yeah, fair. Okay. You know who to blame and who to shout at.
Whereas if you get a car on Turo and the tires are shit or there's a okay, maybe you can give it back. But now what?
Yeah.
Well,
then you're a little bit screwed. And I've had some interesting experiences on Turo. I definitely rented a stolen car, 100%. Gen 1 California. Gen 1 California.
Oh, Ferrari California?
Dude, yeah.
Was it red?
It was red.
Do you think it was the car that Tyler Hoover rolled up in? A Gen 1 California that was that he got on Turo that was so janky
and really loud.
He brought a terrible Ferrari California.
Right.
He said it was $150 a day.
I don't think
which is pretty cheap for any Ferrari.
Yeah, that's cheap.
Real cheap.
Here's why I assumed it was stolen, and this is me just being a stereotypical, like as a tourist going, this doesn't add up to me. So firstly, I gave the Uber driver the address, and he went, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "That's already got my back up a little bit."
Are you sure?
And then when we arrived in the neighborhood, I was like, this doesn't suggest Ferrari California owner to me. Mm-hmm. The guy was
Let me ask you something. How many Ferrari California owners do you know? Because maybe it does, and you just don't know enough of them.
It's a good point. I don't know too many. But anyway, long story short, this isn't even Kia Sorrento. I'm this was not a great neighborhood. Let's just put it in that. The guy was very unresponsive. I was literally sitting in the Uber calling, hello. Finally, I get this okay, come around the back. This gate opens. There's this California. There's a Gallardo, Gen 1 Gallardo, and maybe a big Range Rover. They also have all their stickers on it. Is that a normal thing to be left all the in the windscreen, all the dealer sticker stuff? No, so that was all still on it. And he was an interesting guy. What was that film? Not Next Friday, but it was that kind of
Friday after next.
Yeah, something. The beanie was over the eyes.
Oh wow, okay, yeah.
I just said, cool. Off I go.
It is, yeah. I mean, it's possible. That would be very bold to be Turoing stolen cars. But you know what? It could have been. Let's benefit of the doubt this one. Yeah. Benefit of the doubt. the guy's like a wholesale dealer, and he's just grabbing these things from like the grimiest auctions, just the cheapest garbage that no other dealer wants. And it's got like the wax pen and stuff on the windows, like that whole kind of deal.
That was it.
He might have just grabbed these things from wholesale auctions.
So it didn't say like 2024 Range Rover with papers and everything.
Guys, let's take a quick break for today's sponsor, The Lasso. You may have never heard of The Lasso, but they are here to help solve a problem that we've all had. The problem? Selling your car. It stinks. Selling to an individual can be a pain, right? You got to get it detailed, take a bunch of photos, write a listing, deal with the auction sites, or worse, meet a stranger in a public place and hope to not get scammed or murdered. It's stressful, and your time is worth money. And a lot of people, they want to sell their car to a dealer or trade it in. But if you really wanted to get the best possible offer, you'd have to go to every dealer in town, and that would be like a full-time job. You work for a living. Who's got that kind of time, folks? That's where The Lasso comes in. Here's how it works. You list your car on The Lasso, which takes 3 minutes or less. Car sellers then answer a few questions about the condition of their car and post it so that way it gets in front of hundreds of dealers. Then the dealers bid against each other. You receive offers within a day of posting your car. You get to sit back and relax as multiple offers roll in. You just accept the best offer. The dealer's offers are competitive, and a majority of sellers accept an offer quickly, but there's never any pressure. Then the sellers just drop their car off at the dealer with the best offer, sign the paperwork, and get paid. Cha-ching! The Lasso is here working for you, not the dealership, so their entire job is to get you the most money possible. Head over to thelasso.com/thesmokingtire. That's TheLasso.com/thesmokingtire right now to get multiple real offers on your car fast. And thank you to The Lasso for sponsoring today's podcast. Now let's get back to it.
Not papers, but like the stickers that said like the MPG and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was really weird. I don't know
really
what was
strange.
going on. Yeah, the whole thing was.
I don't know.
I didn't ask any questions. I had a great time.
That sounds suspect.
It was like
He might own a dealership, and he realized it's easier to just rent these until he sells
out.
them.
Oh, rent out
like
his
his
used lot.
That's like an ad you have on
It was
the
around
car
the back
for
of his
sale.
house, but you know. Hey, let's not judge. I'm
Listen,
judging.
to be a
We shouldn't
dealer in
judge.
California, all you need is a couple of things. Trust me, I'm a dealer and I know.
Okay, fine. I had a great time, so I don't know why I'm slagging the guy
I got to
off.
pull my dealer plate off that Koenig. I forgot about that.
You did.
I taped. Yeah, it had no plates on it. I put my dealer plate on it to go film the thing. I had to
Take it to the shop.
and it's from Japan, so it has the Japanese plate screws. So I had to gaffer tape my plate, and the plate bracket. It's like plate bracket exhaust, and I'm going. This is going to fuse this gaffer tape to my dealer plate. It's gonna melt all the glue. Like
I'm so fascinated by that car.
it's so shady. It's so
But
shady.
shady in like a this is amazing way, or like I'm probably gonna die way.
Zach, which do you think? Both.
Yeah.
Both.
That car?
Yeah.
I definitely felt like we were going to die a lot.
I felt like I could die 3 or 4 different times.
I thought I was going to watch you die, and then when I got in the car to go for the ride for the video, I was like, oh, both of us together. Valhalla. Absolutely.
But aren't those the best cars? Like I'm a bit
like they are for video. I don't covet owning that.
Sure.
Like it's not.
I was definitely awake after we filmed it. I was like, oh, wow, I'm really energized. I'm going to climb a mountain to get the drive-by
Yeah.
shot. So I think that it was
had an
exciting.
actual coffee.
It was exciting. No, I did not have that much
I'll
coffee.
tell you what. When you crack boost in third gear in that car, the world comes at you at a speed that the brakes won't stop.
interesting.
Dude, this thing's running like 10-inch single piston, garbage brakes.
Yeah.
Garbage brakes. And like 1,000 horsepower. And it clearly hadn't been run in quite some time.
Even better.
The story is a friend of mine is a dealer in LA, like a legit one, and imported this from Japan, where it has not done much running. He had it serviced, okay, and said he's going to put it on Bring a Trailer. Do we want to make a video? Of course, look at it.
Sure.
And it ran like garbage this morning, and then I pointed it up the hill and did like a 3-gear pull in it, full boost. And Zach's behind in the chase car and says, The amount of black smoke that just came out the back of this thing is unreal.
It obscured the car. Truly.
No.
I thought you'd run over like a former landslide that had dried out. And they were like, oh no, that came out of the back of the car. It was so brown and dusty.
But it was like the Italian tune-up.
Yeah.
Like it was blowing out all the carbon. And then the next time I did pulls, it stopped doing that.
Okay,
and
it got better and better.
Yeah, and by the end of the shoot, the thing was running like awesome.
Okay.
So it needed like some real
it needed a real
exercise.
cough, a big
but
cough, yeah.
it's not, let's say it's not a balanced package.
That's such a well.
In case, if you think the person who designed that has balance as part of their life,
No, definitely not.
No.
Yeah, but it's, I like the wilder things. I like feeling like death is close, but I don't want to feel like I'm not in control of when I die. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you drive an F12 TDF.
Yeah.
And you drive like an idiot, you're probably going to kill yourself.
Yeah.
But that's up to me then. Like, how much
Right.
minute do you want to? That sounds like it's just going to go. No, die.
That one, Willie Koenig decides when you die.
Yes, exactly.
I don't. Yeah, he does. Yeah,
Yeah, never great. That.
yeah. And there's just a big black knob that just says 600, 800, 900, 1,000, and you just go gunk, gunk,
great.
gunk. It's fucking nuts.
I think the most recent experience I've had to something like that was that manual 458 Speciale. I did.
Oh yeah. Was that Jeff Siegel's car?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
Was
don't
it
know if I'm-
the greatest?
Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say Jeff's name out loud.
You're
Yes.
not?
I don't. I think so. I guess.
of course you are.
Okay, great.
We've talked
it was
about Jeff before, yeah.
Perfect. Easy.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable, but in the same way that it's like death is near, because it's not supposed to be a manual.
Yeah.
So okay, Jeff can get away with it because he lives
That's
his life.
the modificata.
Yeah.
is-
Spends his life driving those cars hard and he's
Yeah.
finessing it. But you get one thing wrong in that car, and it's like, no.
Sure. It's
Easy
got like
one.
no flywheel in it. It revs like a
Literally,
bike.
Revs like a bike.
Yeah.
It's got racing brake pedal, so basically like just no movement on the pedal. It's just rock hard.
Yeah, it's like out of the challenge cars or something,
Clutch movement is like this hard,
Yeah.
this far. Rev matching is near impossible, but if you don't rev match, the car just goes no.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was like terrifying.
It's the
but
one
fun.
where you have to like feather the throttle in between upshifts to make it so it doesn't drop fast, right?
That's exactly
You
it.
drive ST? 911 ST?
No, I still haven't driven it yet.
Same kind of thing.
Okay.
I mean, it's designed to be sold to people, so there's like a little bit of idiot proofing there.
Sure.
But the same thing, the engine revs so fast that you don't take your foot all the way off in between upshifts because it'll drop too quick.
Okay.
So you only take your foot off like halfway.
You've got to keep it all
Yeah,
going.
it's something
Yeah.
we talk about a lot. Like some of the new engines, people will watch the video and they go, "Should have been a manual," and you go, "Trust me, no, it's actually worse that way."
Yeah, there's a reason
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
It is a de facto, isn't it? It should have been a manual, but
Well,
I'm a massive
flywheel
manual
weight
fan,
becomes a big thing. Like the one thing I was talking to, Brooks, the drag times guy, Brooks from Drag, and he was like raving about these 599s with the manual swaps,
Sure.
and he's like, but the cars were never designed for manuals, so they have no flywheel weight, and they become like real. And Tyler Hoover also really tricky to drive. And if you fuck up in one of those and you don't actually match gears properly, you're gonna have a problem.
Yeah, it's bad. The car doesn't like it at all.
Yeah.
And it's such a fad at the moment, isn't it? These manual conversions, especially modern era Ferraris. 'cause
Yeah.
it's relatively easy to do. You can do it very badly, and you can do it very, very well. And there are, I think, a smaller percentage of people who are doing it well. But yeah, at the core of it, a lot of these cars aren't really supposed to be manuals or don't suit the manual gearbox as well. There's a reason why 99% of customers bought it with the F1 gearbox. That's what Ferrari pushed. And so, yeah, I'm in two frame of minds. I bought the Challenge Stradale in the last year, which is like my all-time dream car. And everyone's question in the first two videos were, when are you going to manual convert it? When are you going to manual convert it?
That one I would. I'd probably do that.
But I lived with a manual Modena for 6 years, which was as turned up to 11, to coin an awful phrase, as you could. From factory, it had, buckets, cage, we had CS exhaust on it, Challenge grill, Challenge ECU. So, like, it was already there.
It was most of the way there.
Most of the way there. So I don't feel the need to jump into it. And I had 6 years of that great manual experience. Will I never do it? No, I might consider it. But I quite enjoy the flappy paddles. Like, I quite enjoy playing with that at the moment. And I think it's just this automatic, immediate, like, you must manual convert everything now. It feels like that's...
Yeah, I know you don't have to.
Yeah.
But certainly, like, cars of that era, the paddles weren't great.
No, they're awful.
They're not.
But
they're not
for me,
great.
they're part of the character as
Sure.
well, though.
Well, that's
You see,
okay.
I think it's.
Look at that. Yeah, CSs are they're all right.
That was my one.
They are all right. I understand. I do. And yours has like miles on it too, right?
Yeah.
It's not like
I lucked
not
into
a museum
it
car.
because it was an online auction car, so collecting cars. They were here for a while, right? I think
they were here, and I tried to, we tried to help out them because we're friends with Chris.
Sure.
And they told us at one point they called me. They go, "Yeah, we're moving offices. We don't really know where we're going yet. Do you mind if we store some stuff here at Westside?" And I go, "Yeah, sure, no problem, whatever." So they brought over some boxes of stuff, and then the next thing I hear, they're out of America. Like they're not.
They're just gone.
They're just gone.
Ah.
And I never heard from anyone again. And so after like 6 months, these boxes are down there, and I'm like, there's like Mac monitors and like wireless keyboards and all this stuff, and I was like, well, I guess this is mine now. And so now I've got a really nice like Apple monitor in my place.
Incredible.
Where's the keyboard? Like we're using literally that. Thank you, collecting cars.
Amazing.
Like that's for the wireless keyboard.
And you got into collecting cars hats.
Yeah, we got all kinds of fucking swag down there. It's
wild. Because they did something to like stop doing their whole.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they tried to conquer the world maybe a little too fast.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fun.
It's like that one.
A little too quickly. But
a little too quickly.
I still think they do a nice job.
They smash it in the UK for sure, and
their content this year has been awesome. Because Chris has more time. So
a lot of time. Yeah.
But their little kind of this versus that UK version is really good.
I think they're killing it, and I've always got on with Chris, so I think it's good to see that he's now more involved and helping on that side of things. You're right, they're doing a lot, but the actual auction platform site continues to be great, I think.
Sure.
Because we haven't got anything else really.
Yeah, what's that Carhuna thing? Isn't that one too?
Oh yeah.
Is that one also?
I think is a little different. It's dealer backed.
Oh, okay.
So the cars have some kind of certification or verification, I guess. So even if it's a private seller, I believe, I'm definitely not an expert on this, if it's a private seller, you have to go and get it kind of the car verified or stamped.
I know, like we've got that Diablo here that was sold through that, and I think like DK uses that to sell cars, like shops.
That's exactly
that Ferrari 575 looks like a DK car.
That's a DK car for sure, and then JZM Porsche, a big Porsche group. So like, basically the point being that instead of buying blind from a randomer who you don't know, you're going to turn up and be like, what's this car? You've got the kind of backup of the dealership. You can call them up and say, hey, what's the deal with this? Can you send me this service invoice? Can you send me whatever it might be? So that's the point in them. So therefore the cars are always at quite a high level. They had a really nice 456 come through the other day, actually.
Zach, scroll up just real quick. Up. Look at 18,000 pounds for a 03 Vanquish. That's all right.
6 days to go.
Yeah, I know. It's not going to sell for 18,000 pounds. But those, I thought they were about to come back up because, I've got one of them.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
What are they worth here?
So it depends.
Sure.
If you do the manual swap at the factory, because you could do a manual swap in America, or you could send it back and do one at Aston.
Wow.
If you do it at Aston, it's worth a lot more, but it's really expensive.
Okay.
And they rip you off, dude. I mean, it's not great, but but they're probably like a good one with the manual swap. 125, 140,000.
Okay.
Non-manual swapped, 80, 90,000.
Yeah, it's
for
probably
a good
similar.
one. It's a big gap.
Yeah,
it's a big gap. But that paperwork says this was done at Newport Pagnett. It's like,
it's a big tick.
Yeah, which mine was.
Oh, hello.
They did mine. They swapped mine in 2014.
Wow,
that's how long ago we did it.
Yeah. That was a little bit ahead of the whole.
Yeah, and when it came back, it was unbelievable. Completely removed from the aging curve.
Is that your keeper car? Because you must have had that a while then.
It was a gift from Ralph Lauren to my father.
Amazing.
And my father didn't know what to do with it, doesn't know what to do with it. So I was like, here's what we're going to do with it.
I have a plan.
We're doing this. And then, so I have no reason to sell it. I don't want to sell it. So it's in Connecticut, and I drive it when I go to Connecticut.
Amazing.
Because I wouldn't drive it here.
Sure. Okay, not the right car for here?
I got fucking cars coming out of my eyeballs here. I need a car for over there. I would drive it more. I drive it more there than I would drive it if it was here.
Okay.
Because
fair.
when I
That
go
makes
there,
sense.
yeah.
Got
There,
other
there
nice
it just
toys
is
to
the
play with.
car. Yeah. So too many cars.
Too many cars.
Well, you've got your GT3 and this 360.
Yeah.
And then that's it?
That's it. I literally...
Do you not have a regular ass car?
I just bought a Panamera.
Oh, that's a good car.
So I literally just bought a Panamera.
New one?
No, it's the 4 Hybrid, 2018.
Oh, okay. All right.
It was £122,000 list. I bought it for 53. So I was like, done. It's got
That's all right.
Burmester, massage seats, night vision. Someone went to the nines.
And the hybrid's where it's at.
I think so.
They're good.
Just to smoke around in, and I want a bit of comfort. It's currently carmine red, which feels really aggressive
really?
for a Panamera. Yeah.
Carmine red is
Ferrari.
that's all right.
Big red bus.
Yeah, carmine red's good. I painted
yeah.
my brakes carmine red.
Oh, nice.
On my Spider.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Matches
of
my
course.
interior. Yeah.
Look at you.
Carmine red's good though.
I think it's good.
It's
Like-
also in America they call it GTS red.
Okay, fine.
I don't know what the difference is, but it's the same color. Why they call it carmine in Europe and GTS red here.
Anyway, but I mean, it's good. I'm just like the first 2 days, I was like, wow, that's really red.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I literally picked it up 2 days ago. So and that.
Oh,
that-
like just got it.
literally just got it.
Breaking
Yeah,
news.
yeah.
Breaking news. Sam buys used Panamera.
As an old man. And that's
Great
it.
car,
That's the
though.
lineup. Yeah, I think
That's a
so.
good one.
I just, you know what I realized? We're so spoiled doing what we do.
Guys, today's episode is also brought to you by AutoTempest. When you're looking to buy a car, it's smart to cast a wide net and check as many places as possible. AutoTempest makes this easier than anywhere else, bringing together listings from all the top sites online like Cars.com, TrueCar, eBay Motors, Carvana, and more, so you get them all in one place rather than having to search a bunch of sites separately. For instance, I am looking for a very specific car right now. It's a mass-produced car, but it's a collectible car, and they're not easy to find. I hate checking all of these sites individually, which I've found myself wanting to do every week, just waiting for the right car to pop up. AutoTempest makes it so easy. They're searching all these cars in one place. It brings it all together so I don't have to go to each different website on a new tab and just type in all the same criteria again and again and again and again. AutoTempest has me covered, even letting me compare it with results from Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist nationwide, not just in my local area. AutoTempest now has apps for iOS and Android, so you can use the website or have AutoTempest right on your home screen. AutoTempest has all the cars with one search. Head over to autotempest.com/tire right now so they know we sent you. That's autotempest.com/tire and start searching for your next car in one search.
Spend my life getting in and out of really nice, really exotic cars. And that's great, and I have all the fun I want. When I'm not in those cars, I just want to go to sleep. I mean, obviously not actually asleep, but I just want to have really good music system. I want to have comfy chairs. I want to like the car that when I walk up to it and walk away from it, I want to go, that's kind of cool. But I just want to waft, you know?
Yeah.
And I know you did the whole Bentley thing.
Love it.
Which, and like,
Speaking
that was
of
part of
waft,
the inspiration.
Holy waft.
But I couldn't deal with the potential what if, you know, breaking down. So I needed some kind of more modern, reliable,
depreciated German luxury is all right.
Yeah. That's where my head was at.
I would not have gone shopping for this Bentley.
Sure.
It was
fell into your
literally
lap.
on my street, and
saw
I
the
was
video.
like,
It was
"What
a
the fuck?"
Great story.
Yeah.
But
My
that's,
wife is driving it right now.
Really?
Yeah.
And it's been all right since you did all the work? Has it been
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, there's been a couple things, but like we're fine.
But nothing catastrophic. You haven't been
no.
at the side of the road.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's cool.
'Cause
And we have a great guy, Charlie Agapu in LA, who like not only is a genius with fixing the cars, but stocks all the parts. So like that enormous service we did was 6 days.
Wow.
Like it was.
He wasn't ordering things.
No.
Yeah.
It was in and out. It was quick.
That's what you need, right? I think
Yeah.
if you're looking at any classic or modern classic, if you can just find the shop, you're fine. Because everyone gets so nervous at that. I mean, I just said I was nervous myself. I always like, if you just find the shop, then you can live your best life.
Yeah.
Because then you don't have the worries of little niggles. You just come along, okay, fix this, fix that.
The Ferrari works though, right?
Oh,
those
the Ferrari
those
works
cars
great.
work, and your old one worked too, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, but I had the shop. So these guys in the UK called AV Engineering, they're like another level. So the guy used to work in finance, fixed his cars at the weekend. There's definitely, I'm sure he won't mind me saying it, there's a level of OCD to him, like just to the point where he cannot see a job and not do it.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Obviously, if you're working on a bit of a constricted budget, he's just going to give you shit the whole
Right.
time.
There's a lot of while you're in there.
Yeah, literally, but in the best way. It's not like while you're in there, I'm going to rip you off. It's while you're in there, that could be just a 1% tweak, and it transforms the car. So I'm all about proactive rather than reactive. So we just go through the car like pretty much every 3-6 months, depending on how I'm using it. And I would argue, I would fight for this, that my Modena was arguably the best 360 Modena in the world, stock, as in no turbos, no super, nothing. Because it left factory in a super high spec, and they just finessed it to this point where it was Larry is the word that I would use. I mean, it was aggressive, and so we're just getting the Stradale up until that point.
What kinds of things needed attention? You said you would bring it in every 3 to 6 months to go through it. Like, were lots of things kind of going wrong? Oh, okay.
just all the ball joints.
Really?
Always. Like, I'd be like, I've driven the car 10 miles, ball joints. Great. So they were constantly going.
Why were they so shitty?
I don't. From factory, they're just crap. From factory, they've always been crap.
How interesting.
All that kind of era, the same. The CS is the same now. I've done probably 3,000 miles into it. We've been through 2 sets of ball joints.
No way.
Yeah. So
that bad?
That bad.
Oh, that's crazy.
Bad. So they're not the most expensive thing to replace. So like, you just have to kind of be on top of it.
When they start to go, can you feel it in the car? Or is it something where he puts it on the lift and he goes there?
A bit of both. If he spots it early enough, I wouldn't have picked it up. But you start to feel a little bit of a knock and a little bit of play. You can start at the front. It's really hard at the back. Unless you're really cracking on, it's quite hard to notice the ones at the back. What else would be normal? Like, obviously, you always want to be on top of all the obvious things, the belt. And
the
things
belt,
like that.
but at least you can do it through that panel, so the engine's not out.
So that's easier. It was always the stuff which you don't think about, and I advise. You know Paul Wallace, Supercars of London.
Yes.
So another big YouTuber from the UK, and he bought an LP640, a Murcielago, which is his dream car, and he was shopping. And I said, look, the only thing you need to realise is that it's not like a modern car where it'll go bong if something's wrong. All the stuff that's going wrong, they don't tell you about. Like, until you go in the shop and they go, oh, you don't have any cylinders left. They just ate themselves.
It's like a man in the 50s, like, nothing's wrong. My leg did not fall.
They bury it in there deep.
So that's the thing. It was always just like little weird, obscure stuff. You come back, this radiator's done this, or this air conditioning system's done that. But ball joints you cannot escape.
Oh, that's interesting.
The car today had a lot of different lights that could illuminate if the sensors worked. One of them literally said fire. I was happy to have that, but I also don't trust the sensors from 45 years ago. You know, like you said, they don't let you know when something's wrong.
There's so many unlabeled buttons in this fucking thing, dude. It was crazy.
But just Ferrari that era as well. I just think they just made it up. I think they didn't connect things. They put things like we have to put this here, to put it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So I am the same. I would not trust, even if it said there was a fault. I'd be like, nah.
Yeah. Who even knows?
Yeah, they don't know.
We had it, and I've talked about it a million times. When I used to work with Rob Ferretti at the rental car company, we had a 360 that was an express car, and this thing was juiced to fucking high heaven. This thing had like poured in polished heads and like cams.
Yeah.
Like thing must have been running like a 13.5 to 1 compression. It didn't sound like any other 360. And this was before the Stradale came out.
Sure.
And it was so fast.
Yeah.
Like
it's normal. It's just
and it had 145,000 miles on it.
Wow.
And it was the most, this thing was a ripper. It was so crazy. It would walk Stradales. It was like almost as fast as a 430 in a straight line. And it eventually burned to the ground. Oh, but it did. Yeah, it wasn't great.
But it was great until that point.
It was so fun right up until that. I wasn't driving it when it burned, but I was there. I did watch it burn.
They have problems with the fuel tanks on the front end. They just literally eat themselves alive.
Yeah.
And then just fuel. So if you start smelling fuel, I was like, no, I'm really about
this one, a customer drove it down the highway in third gear near red line for like 45 minutes.
That'll do it.
And an oil line blew and just sprayed oil all over the engine.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
He was all right.
He was fine.
Great.
Yeah, he got out all right. And the fire burned slow enough that we were able to get there to watch it burn and get it on video.
Sure,
so
sure.
Yeah.
Got it for the content.
Yeah, but like you can make those 360s like real fast.
Dude, honestly, so there's two guys that are doing it. So I really blow the horn for AV Engineering in the UK. I do think they're the best worldwide at 360s. There's another guy called Trev, who built his own project car over years and has been doing a bit of software tuning for these, which I think now various shops around the world use his software. And it started off, I had the very first iteration, which was basically challenge ECU on a Modena. So it was like increased the red line by like 500 RPM, made all the throttle response way better, got a load of fault codes, all the engine breathing that you kind of want and need. He's now on like iteration 9.5, which is about to go on the Stradale. And it's just, I think he was like a Sky, like do you know what Sky, like Sky, Rupert Murdoch?
Yeah.
Sky TV. He was like a Sky satellite engineer who just knew coding, and he just took the Bosch ECU and was like, nope, let's change all of this.
Cool.
And so he does like a load of amazing stuff now, as simple as like elongating the time when the immobilizer kicks in.
I like that all of your mechanics don't have a background in being mechanics for Ferrari. Like, this guy was a trader, and this guy was a programmer for a news station.
I don't trust actual mechanics.
This is like MacGyver A-Team shit.
They've been there long enough to rip you off. No.
Exactly.
I need someone who doesn't need the money anymore and is just playing. That's where we're at right now.
That's exactly where I'm at. You used to own a Bugatti? Great.
Do they are they changing any parts, or is it just software?
No, I try and keep everything stock from like factory stock. We do a few like Hill and Nolden do a lot of engineering parts. So again, like the ball joints, things like that. We swap in some of those bits and
that
bobs.
doesn't seem to help. The car still eats them.
Just churn through them. But yeah, I'm weird like that, dude. Like I want everything to be, because I'm like a Ferraristi. Like I obsess over it all. I don't want to go with like a Koenig special.
Ferrari owners are the worst people in the world.
Oh, I freely admit it, and I'm not even just like that. I'm like worse again, because I'm like an Uber fan and a Ferrari owner. So I'm like this mix of just a disaster.
Yeah.
I don't have the sweater over the shoulders yet, but I only ever wear Ferrari merchandise.
Oh, you do have Ferrari merchandise?
Oh, yeah.
Do you wear it while driving the car?
Less and less, because I realize that's
is the
worst. Right?
That's the worst.
I have a cap that's always available to me in case I get out of the car and I need people to know that I'm driving the car.
Right, of course.
This is what I think people buy Urises. It's so that people will know that they have a Lamborghini, but they don't have to deal with driving a Lamborghini. That's very
It's,
no.
It's right.
That's I'm sure you heard about this from somewhere, but the guy who was restoring my Countach is in jail right now.
I actually didn't hear that.
We don't need to talk about it.
Okay.
There's a whole, I'll tell you later. Everyone's already heard this. The show where I talked about it did huge numbers. Everyone's already fucking heard about it.
He was a finance guy before he was
turns out.
Cool, let me just make a phone call.
Turns out the finance guys, that's why he's in jail, for finance-related things, but not for stealing from me. But the after this happened, I got a lot of messages from people that were like, "Yo, they're talking about you on Ferrari chat. They're saying they're talking about you on Ferrari," and I've been there. The number one rule of life is to never go on Ferrari chat. I mean, you want to talk about the worst forum. Dude, this place makes fucking 4chan look like reading Rainbow. You do not go on Ferrari chat. No. The worst humans.
Yes. I mean, the thing is, so have you experienced Piston Heads Forum?
No.
I would say that rivals.
Is it?
Right now I'm upsetting a lot of like real car people in the UK. Because for me, Piston Heads Forum is AIDS. Like actual, like death.
Forum
it's
AIDS.
Death, because it's the same people that Clarkson would take the piss out of on old Top Gear. Of they would get you in a pub. I saw you turned up in a Cortina.
Yeah.
Did you know that actually they produced 47? You're like, please kill me now. Kill me now.
Yeah.
So there's a YouTuber thread on the Piston Heads Forum. I want to just go in there. Every now and again, I just go and leave a grenade, like just on a fake username, just going, I heard that JWW is buying a Veyron, and then just let them go. And they're just flying. So they would probably eat up this information.
I'm going to take this water. I don't go.
Yeah.
I went on Ferrari chat in 2007, and I said, you know what?
Never again.
Never again. I don't care how many fucking Ferraris I buy. It's never again.
Do you work with Ferrari? Do they invite you to stuff?
They do, actually.
Yeah? Okay.
Although the last two times they've invited us, I have been unavailable and Zach has gone, which is good for him.
I like it very much.
How have you found that experience?
It was very strange. It was rushed and also lax.
Yes.
Like one day the schedule was very tight, and it was like here's the factory for an hour and a half, and then here's the track for an hour and a half, which was exciting and crazy and far too small for F1 cars. Sure. And then the next day the van was supposed to pick me up to take me to get my press car, and it showed up like 3 hours late.
Great.
And when I got there, I was like, hey man, like we're a little short on time, and the guy goes, well, you are here, so now all is fine. And I went, and upon reflection, I go, yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
you know?
You're right.
Great coffee.
When they showed up for Performance Car of the Year for Road and Track last year with a 296, which delightful. Aceto Fiorano, excellent. They showed up with 7 sets of carbon wheels and tires.
Unbelievable.
They brought a box truck. They brought 5 guys. Everyone else was like, here's your car.
Yeah, go have fun.
See you in a week.
Yeah,
they showed up with a box truck, 7 sets of carbon wheels and tires.
Unbelievable.
Cup 2, spec,
Sure,
whatever.
Of course, yeah.
A team of Italians, in tucked in shirts. Yep. And several drums of fuel. Yeah. And it's like, what are you putting in that car? And it's gasoline. It's a petrol.
Anyone can buy this. It's literally from the Formula 1 team.
And it was like riding a fucking missile. Like, the car's amazing, but like, I could have put gas in it. Like, no. It's okay. It's okay. We have it.
I was talking about this today, though. I'm kind of on your side as like Ferrari fan. And I think we saw a red Ferrari go by, and I thought, you know what? Yeah, like if I was going to own one Ferrari in my life, it'd be red. And I know people make fun of that because they go, oh, how predictable, it's a red Ferrari. But like that's what's seared in my 5-year-old brain.
That's exactly it.
It looks good, so who cares?
I'm anti-red Ferrari.
Okay.
I'm not anti you having a red Ferrari. Sure. I just won't buy one.
I want to dig into this a bit more because I have two questions to ask on it. Firstly, does it matter what kind of Ferrari, mid-engine or front-engined? Make any difference?
On whether it's red?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Zach?
No.
Because I wouldn't have a red 812 or I wouldn't have a red front engine.
I'd be
812s don't look good.
I could go more subtle color on a 550, but I could do that.
Yeah.
I could bend a little, but like if I was only on one mid-engine, it'd be red.
And then secondly, so my Stradale has a little bit of corrosion here and there. We're going to fix it in the winter, but it's enough that actually doing a full color change wouldn't be a headache.
Oh.
Because I won the car at auction, it's not a spec I ever thought I would get. It's the launch spec. It's like Rosso Scuderia, stripe, red and black interior. Like that's the launch spec of the car.
What you think when you think Stradale.
Which is great because it's the dream car. But if I had all the time and money in the world, is that the spec I would have gone and bought? Maybe not. But what you just said, I'm like, but do I then go and change it?
Yeah.
You're so the wrong person to speak to. Because I know a few options of things that I would do, but then I'm like, but then it's like what Zach just said. It's the red. That's the Stradale.
But you've had a red one. You know what that's like. Your other car was red, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Rosso Corsa. This one's Rosso Scuderia. So be precise about it. But different shades. I think you'll find, Matt.
But
one a bit different on TV than the other one.
Yeah,
literally that.
That's why they did it with the F1 team.
Thank you so much.
That's right.
One cost $5,000. The other was included. I would say you have an opportunity, and I might seize the opportunity.
I just don't want to regret because it's a really expensive mistake to make.
Yes.
Well, you don't have. I mean,
do a rep.
You could. I mean, why would you regret it? Because if you got to choose any color.
Yeah, I'm basically
what do you think you'd regret
specking a Stradale from factory, but I don't know. It just feels.
You don't have to paint it something crazy.
I could though.
You could. You could. I would.
Yeah, so
I'd fucking go I'd go nuts.
Yeah. Did you see the pink 812 GTS that just came out?
Yeah. I'm pro pink.
Yeah.
I
know you're pro.
But like I mean your GT3 that I think
worked out all right,
you could go like real gentlemanly on the color. You could do like Stradales look great in the blue.
Well, that's what. So there's a blue Scudo, which is like a bit of a historic flatter blue. And then I would do blue interior, blue on blue. Mm-hmm. That was where my head was at. But
so doing the interior change might be expensive, right? Is it just the seats? Or is the dash and shit red?
It's the seats and the under of the dash.
Okay.
The top the stitching as well. Stitching's all red. But I have an interior.
You got a guy?
People.
Okay.
Yeah, they're good guys. I'm going to shout them out, actually.
Dude,
D-Class in the UK. They need a holler.
D-Class?
Yeah, because they're not allowed to say what they do. I think I can say, because I'm not signing anything. They do all McLaren MSO's work.
Oh, okay.
So, like, and way beyond that. So, any P1, any Speedtail.
Oh, cool.
Sorry, D-Class, come and sue me if I'm breaking any of your contracts, but I hadn't signed them. So, they need to be shouted out.
Basically, it's funny when you find out that, like, small shops do OE work. I know a couple of those too that are
and they're top level.
Sure.
These guys are super good. They started. Do you know Max Power magazine?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the guy who started it, all of his cars were on the front pages of Max Power.
Oh,
That's how
cool.
he began. And then with time, he's like progressing.
Yeah.
You know, all those kind of tag turbos from Lanzante and all that stuff. He's doing all that interior work.
Oh,
and
that's
they can't
cool.
talk about it. So they deserve a shout out. So they would do the. They did my Pasha seats as well.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
yours,
So
those look factory.
Yeah. So they did proper. The rear seats were done by the GT3 Belts guys.
I just found some material. We have a guy who makes custom suits here in LA. Shout out to the Grotto. We love him.
Cool.
Makes suits, blazers, whatever.
Sick.
And I just found the Porsche houndstooth material. So I'm getting a houndstooth blazer for Pebble. Yeah, it's going to be fucking awesome. It's going to be great.
That is
it's going to be real obnoxious.
Yeah, perfect.
But I don't know. If I was you, I would change the color of the car to something that is even more like you.
Well, to give credit where credit is due, the reason I finally pulled the trigger on this car, I mean, it was circumstantial because the car came up for auction. I didn't think I was going to win it. There's a collector on Instagram, a guy called Maxige. Massimo Max.
Don't know.
A big European collector, been on Instagram for a long time. You know that guy, Power Slide Lover?
Yeah.
He's good friends with him.
Okay.
So they're that scene. And I just suddenly realised how completely unrelatable the story is. We were on a boat at the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yes.
The one with the F40 on it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was his whole thing.
Cool.
So he set all that up. He did all that.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there and we're talking
Levels
about this.
of big dicking happening
basically,
there.
Hey,
Yeah.
You know, you name dropped. people
Extremely
earlier,
relatable,
You're
yeah.
very relatable.
Yeah.
You know, I just stepped off the Four Seasons. Anyway.
Yeah.
And we were talking about cars and dream car, and he just said, "When are you going to buy a Stradale? Like, just get on with it." He said, we're all bored. Like, he's known me for a long time. He's known my Instagram for a long time. He said, just go and find the doggiest car out there you can with the most miles, and just rip it apart, make it your car.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want, paint it however you want it, do a manual. And I was like, yeah, you're kind of right, because I was obsessing over waiting till the perfect car.
Yeah.
And I was at this perfect point in my life, and I felt like I'd achieved it. And actually, I was like, no, he's totally right. I just need to go and find a car. And then luck would have it 4 or 5 months later, that's what happened. So,
so now you have to do the second half of that. Now you've bought it, and you have to actually make it your own. I would do it.
Yeah, I know you would.
I would make it. I'd make it a real obnoxious color. Yeah.
I want it to look like it left the factory though. That's my only thing. I want
do
it to
that.
look like it. You know, I don't want it to go so wild that.
Is this Maxige's car?
Oh, that's a great
there you
color.
go.
What color is that?
This is hold on a sec. It's the Blue California, isn't it? It's the.
It might be Blue California.
Yeah.
That is a great color.
It's an
I am a
unbelievable
fan
spec. And
of
he's even got
that.
the Lexan windows, so that was a vibe.
Oh, yeah, that's an aesthetic, but like
Actually, a disaster.
you do not want to live with Lexan windows.
I have
No.
a friend with the car in Hong Kong.
It's not.
And
No.
PK, you know.
Yeah.
And he was like disaster.
No, yeah,
Absolute disaster.
Look, my Lamborghini has tiny little fucking windows,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's a mistake.
Get rid of it.
You do not want that. But that color is spectacular.
Spectacular, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
He has had and has all the cars, and this was a pretty magnificent choice.
The one thing I do know about people with Stradales is they drive them a lot. They tend to
They're
drive
great,
them a lot.
usable cars. You know,
Yeah.
people are always terrified that it's going to be too stripped out because, hey, you know, when the car launched, it didn't have a great reception on launch because people were like, this seems way too extreme for the road. But now it's ended up being this kind of semi-analog experience
Sure.
where it's like 400 horsepower. It's not exactly going to set the world alight. Shmi 150 drove it for one of his videos recently, and we pulled onto the highway, and he gave it loads, and he was like smiling, and we were both laughing. And then we looked at the road; we were barely catching the truck in front of us. You know, like so it's a lot of noise, and you don't. But on a mountain road, it's still light, it's still nimble. It gives you loads of feedback. And it's just a great, fun car to drive, and still remarkably comfortable.
Yeah,
that was my
I mean
big fear.
the 2000 and what year is it?
2004, yeah, 2004. Yeah.
A raw car from 04 and what the
What
a
they're doing
992 GT3 RS where you've got no trunk, and all this downforce and
STO.
stuff like that, or an STO. We thought those cars were harsh then. Like, hold my beer. And now they're actually not bad.
Yeah.
You go drive a 997 RS or something, and it's like, oh. This is
really quite comfy,
this is all right. I'll daily this thing's like all good. So
we literally did that in Portugal last week. We did this driving tour, and it was a 997.2 3RS, and I got in.
Great
I was
car.
Like, this is lovely.
I know.
Driving from the truck to the hotel, I was like, oh my God.
There's a reason people pay so much money for those. They're great.
What a thing. Screw the 4 liters, get the 3.8.
Yeah.
It was super nice.
I do like that you go a long way in your cars. You drive to fucking Africa.
Dude, Morocco is the vibe. That's honestly one of the best road trips I've done to date. That was 360 Modena around Morocco.
Did you go Spain ferry to Morocco?
Exactly.
Yeah, I did that.
So 2 days down to even below Seville. So that was 2 12-hour days. They were pretty brutal because Spain, there's not a lot going on in the middle of Spain.
Good roads though.
Great roads.
Good
but
tarmac quality.
Highways dead.
Yeah.
So just to get through it, dead. But yeah, Spain otherwise one of the best places to drive actually.
Yeah, totally underrated.
Totally underrated.
Not much car culture there.
Very little car culture. I mean, Seat's doing something now, but I don't really know what, and Cupra. But the coast, around the coast in terms of hotel, that's the problem, is infrastructure.
Right.
All the best stuff is away from hotels, restaurants. So you kind of got to be brave and bold and get out there when you get in the mix. But Spain and Portugal for me are the two untapped potential. Everyone goes on about the Alps, south of France and stuff. But Spain and Portugal is a vibe. But if you just take the ferry into Morocco, I did 3 days or maybe 4 days exploring Morocco. Literally did like a big circle. One of the best road trips of my life.
Awesome.
Absolutely awesome. Not because of like driving. There are a lot of surprises. I would say, obviously 911 Dakar is the perfect car for that country. But more so just like something a little high up, a Vanquish, an AMG GT,
little ground clearance,
a little bit of ground clearance, and a cruiser, because a lot of the time you're doing sort of good speed and long sweepers and big straights, and then suddenly crater. You kind of have to, when you want to be cracking on.
Yeah.
But the people are amazing. The country is 18 different countries in one. You start at the top, it's like super luscious, green, rolling like farmland. Then you go out into the desert, it's insane. And Morocco Marrakesh city is huge. And then it's amazing place.
I'm regularly kind of jealous of folks like you and Harry and just like what's something great about Europe is that you can go to you can drive for a couple of days and be in like such different.
But isn't that the same for Iowa?
No,
not really.
No, I don't think so. Look, I'm not like you have to drive really, really far from California to find a totally different culture. I mean, yes, Iowa's different from California, but like to find a totally different language, a totally different infrastructure, a totally yes, you can go to Mexico, which is 3 hours south of here. You can do Mexico, but other than that, like you can go in different directions and be in wildly different scenarios.
Yeah. I think we get a terrain change that Europe would get, but we don't get the cultural language shift that they get in the same distance.
Mm-hmm. Fair. Yeah, you're right. We are spoiled in that, especially from the UK. We just dive through the Eurotunnel into France, and then suddenly, people are pissing at us and spitting.
What does it cost to send a car through the Eurotunnel?
Tunnel's so expensive.
Is it?
Days. Yeah, it used to be very affordable. Now a base return ticket's probably £200. So it's, 200
for a car.
For a car.
That's actually. I mean, yes, that's expensive, but it's not. When you just said, "Oh, it's so expensive," I was expecting you to say like $500.
That is what I do because I'm a dick. It's the flexi ticket, so that's a fixed time. If you missed your train, you miss your train.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I say
the flexi is show up and I'm getting on the next
one.
one.
And it's $500 at cheapest. Peak times it's $600, $650, and you're like, oh my god. This is
and also a lot of people are just commuting like that. They're just taking normal cars. Like not everyone's on a pleasure trip, right? So it could be more expensive for them.
It's a busy, active pathway, and it's so quick. Because the ferry is definitely cheaper. I think a return ferry you can get for like £80.
How long is the ferry?
Ferry all in, I would say, is 2.5, maybe 3 hours, because you have to get there an hour before. Then it's the boarding, always takes a little bit for a while. And then
that's not terrible though.
It's
not terrible.
The tunnel's 35 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
And you literally just arrive, drive on, off you go. So
yeah, but that's not. That's like. It's not like it's 6 hours versus 35 minutes.
No, there's options. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely like affordable options, but then obviously once you've crossed, then the world's your oyster. You can just keep going. I met a guy, Turkey's biggest automotive YouTuber at the weekend.
Hair plugs?
Drip, no. Lots of other things going on. No, super nice guy, Driven 34. And he was really saying, you've got to come to Turkey. And for me, that's easy. My wife's Bulgarian, and there's a border crossing. So I was like, yeah, cool. Like one time we're there, I'll pop on down and come and see you. I said, but what's the car culture like there? He goes, oh, you have no idea. Well, what are you talking about? He goes, oh, we have road legal FXX cars. He said, but the problem is we have taxes. I went, yeah, cool. Like what? Guess how much a 992 Turbo S is in Turkey?
How many conversions do we have to do now?
Well, it's euros. Let's go.
Okay, in euros.
Like 400.
€1 million.
1.2 million
Whoa.
euros.
For a fucking 911? Get out of here.
992 Turbo.
Yeah, no.
The worst part is they're everywhere.
That's crazy.
he said like
the tax is like 400%.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
He said the Istanbul money scene is wild. He said it's mind-boggling. So the gap in wealth is insane. 1.2 million euros.
911, no. No thanks.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
You're like, it just doesn't add up. I was like, let's buy a car.
Same for used cars? It's only
used
for
cars are
brand
a
new
bit
cars.
less. Yeah, brand new cars is where it gets really
crazy,
unbelievable. So, that's.
I know a guy who moved to Eastern Europe. I want to say it's Romania, and set up a Dodge dealership.
Oh,
and he's
wow.
selling like Hellcats over there.
Yeah, okay.
For just ridiculous money.
But they're super popular because in those parts of Europe, they all are obsessed with
muscle cars,
CSI and all these shows where they're always Camaros and Dodges.
Yeah.
So my wife's obsessed with the Challenger because it was in some show.
Really?
Every time we see one, she's like, "Oh, I love that thing." I'm like, "Really?"
Were you like, you think you love it, but you should wait till you try one?
Yeah,
this is
one.
garbage.
She still wants one.
You don't want one in England, man. No. Can you get a Challenger in England?
There's a company that imports them for sure, but they're all left-hand drive. No one converts them.
And a car that size, left-hand drive in the UK would be terrible.
There's one that's parked on like a really nice area of London where all the Chelsea footballers live and stuff like that. And I never see it move. It's always just parked there.
Harris tried to bring a Camaro over there.
Yeah.
And it lasted like 3 months.
A 1L
it was like, this is the Z28.
There you go. Okay,
which is the best
the
one
to have.
Yeah. But like over there, like no, it's probably misery.
They just don't translate. New Mustang does well.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're importing stuff, because there's a company that does it, and they try and charge like £200,000 for a Hellcat.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just like... No.
You'll find a few takers because novelty, but like, no thanks.
Yeah, and
they're selling right-hand drive Mustangs, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
We don't get any of the Shelby stuff.
Not surprising.
No.
Are the Mustangs popular there? People
they're
they're
like a cool alternative for sure. Mm-hmm. You do see them out and about because I think they represent like semi-good value. It's like if you're in a 4 Series or like a not AMG C-Class or whatever. It's like
that's the same as here, basically. Yeah.
You do see quite a few of them, to be fair.
Yeah. Cool.
They're cool cars.
So what's happening in the world of, you've got your podcast, you've got YouTube, you've got Instagram. What's working right now?
Oh, great question. I don't think any of it.
Us too.
Yeah, it's so dead. YouTube, I have definitely finessed into... I think I know what I want to create, and I think I know what the audience want to see. Of course, I still get it wrong a lot of the time. I feel less pressure. So, you know, I do one video a week at maximum at the moment. So if I miss a week, I'm not going to freak out. I'm not sitting here going, I've got to upload, I'll just make anything. It's like, let's make the content I want to make. Mm-hmm. And that has worked predominantly until I went and filmed 3 Mustangs in New York, and everyone was like, no, thank you.
Really?
Yeah, dead. Classic still.
Yeah.
And weirdly, like American stuff just never really...
Very interesting.
So that was a bit of a tough one. So I'm always, like classics, I love doing classics, and I'm always prepared the views are going to tank, so I suck it up, but then this one was like a proper tank.
Oh, that sucks.
And then I took a week off, and so the channel's just like, no thank you.
For us, it's trucks. Trucks.
Interesting. Yeah.
Death. Instant
so annoying
death.
That, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to do a truck, right? Like sometimes I just want to do a truck. And so I think that's okay. So yeah, the channel, I'm a bit like, you know, it's in a good place, I think. I'm not like all about the growth. I'm just about like just getting stuff done. And then your podcast is good.
I'm just looking at your channel. That fucking photo of Jeff is very awkward.
This one here, wait, the Magna Speciale.
Yeah.
That's me, dude.
That's you?
That's me.
No, that's not you.
That's me. I forgot to take a thumbnail. Doesn't that a screen grab?
That face,
it looks like Jeff,
that doesn't look like you.
I know, because I'm pulling a weird face. That was what's called a screenshot.
You look like you are 800 years old in that photo. You look like
maybe that's why I didn't perform so well.
You look like you've used...
Here's some 95-year-old.
You drank your own alcohol that you made.
But dude, what is your thumbnail game right now? Because that's a whole dark art. Have you done the Mr. Beast thing?
No, it's not the Mr. Beast thing where it's a Photoshop of surprised people faces. Yeah. We started putting ourselves in it, which we didn't do for a long time. So now we're in it.
Yeah.
And it's expressive, but
do you think it's helped having you in it?
I mean, yeah, I would say it has. That one, that Rolls-Royce one is about kind of where we're at there. Yellow writing seems to work.
Interesting.
Better than white. But yeah.
The thumbnails stress me out a little bit because that seems to be such a fine art at the moment. Mm-hmm. Have its thing, which I don't really play into because I get home and I go, I didn't take a thumbnail. So that's always a killer.
Yeah, it's more important than I give a shit about. But,
I think that's a bit of a hidden art. Then podcasts, we just churn, a bit like you. I think just podcasts just churn and they're good and we enjoy them. We just did this tour. It was our first. This is a potential new project to do these driving tours. I know you do your one from Track, right? So this one was
your lead. You created it.
We created it. Yeah.
Okay.
So our own potential new business with Tony. Have you met Tony, the guy I do my podcast with?
I've never met him. No.
No. Okay. So so this was our first. We just did it in Portugal last week. 10 cars and us.
Yeah.
And it was really good, really, really good, I think.
It's a lot of work, though.
It's a ton of work.
Yeah.
A ton of work, and I think we learned so much. It's because I've been doing it for 10 years on the channel. I've been doing adventures, like come with me on a road trip virtually. Well, you might as well now pay and come with me physically. And Tony does a lot of trips as well. So it felt like the perfect thing to do, but it's a lot of work. And
it's a lot of work. I mean, I don't want to say people don't appreciate it, but it's the part that becomes a lot of work is typically the part that people aren't really thinking about.
For sure, and put on top of that, creating content, plotting and planning, updating socials. That was the first thing I realized. Halfway through day one, I was like, "Oh, I'm not making a video from this."
Yeah.
So luckily, I had a couple of guys getting shots from it, which I never usually do. And I said, just smash me. This is a voiceover special.
Sure.
I cannot be doing all of this and then
because you got to be the host, and you're just
super intense.
And now all of a sudden you're doing customer service.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're
That's
being
hardcore.
you, but also being customer service.
100%. And then there's an expectation because they kind of feel like they half know you anyway, so you've got to deliver. We had a great time. We were super lucky with the group. I mean, I don't think we're always going to be that lucky. It's like not one dick. They were just all lovely.
Oh yeah, the odds are
they all got on together.
You will have one sooner.
Definitely
or later.
at some point. They could all drive. We were there you go. 9 out of the 12 cars were Porsches. Which
there's a lot of real cars.
296 guy, absolute legend, turned up with the carbon wheels. Never driven the car before. Had bought it 2 or 3 weeks done it, and came in with his wife and the carbon wheels, and we were like,
please
take it easy. Just take it easy.
Yeah. Did he bring a spare tire?
Took it real easy. No, didn't bring a spare tire. DB12 was interesting because he was on the PSS5s, the Michelin.
The new tire,
So if he had a blowout, he was in trouble. They weren't getting anything.
Yeah, those new tires are always good until you need one on the side of the road, We
did that launch together. Mm-hmm. It did well, that car.
It's a great car.
In that group, there were a few real fast boys, and he was at the front, and that was...
We just drove the Volante as well, which was lovely.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was
super
great.
Nice.
Yeah, it's great. Exactly.
Sound a bit better, or...?
Exactly the thing you expect.
Okay.
They've done a good job with the rigidity. It doesn't jiggle.
Yeah, fair.
So it's great.
Yeah, it's a good car.
I mean, it looks like a beautiful setting.
Yeah, that's where Portugal's amazing. We had incredible roads. We did 3 full days of driving, proper 6-7 hours on the road, flat twisties. You don't see a single soul out there. So you just go, 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 go. And then we joined this wild event called Gathering Supercars in Porto, which, I mean, it was everything you hope and want from a Portuguese supercar event. 300 cars. Complete chaos. If something was supposed to be happening at 1, it happened at 4. The guy who runs this guy called Andre, who is the sweetest human being you've ever met. Not great English, so kind of sometimes hard to figure out what's actually going on. And I would say a professional speaker, not in a good way.
Okay.
So I love it because all of his speeches are, I love you, you are amazing, I love you, it's so great that you're here, I love you, and you are amazing. And this goes on, his record is 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Speaking?
Jesus. The big dinner, we left early, he started up an hour and 15 minutes.
No
of essentially,
way.
You're beautiful, I love you. But it's meant with such kindness. And you cannot help but kind of slightly be enamored, but then also just be like, oh my God. So he's amazing. And there were a load of cool people there. Do you know Raul RM Autosport from Monaco.
I don't. But
Drifts Creo GTs everywhere. Long
I think
silver hair.
I've seen that guy. Yeah, I've seen that guy. And were you literally booked doing the hotels and all that kind of stuff?
Did absolutely everything.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. Dude.
Yeah.
So I think we want to do more, but we'll probably bring someone in to help.
What are
us
you
with
using
that.
for navigation?
No, I'm joking.
No. Are you setting up a Google Maps route?
Yeah.
So you're limited to the six position
that's
points.
a killer as well.
That's
and
tough.
The worst one is, which you'll probably know, is how do I get the route to start again from lunch?
Oh yeah.
You got to go around, sure, and delete this point,
So-
or like, hey, let's take a detour and do this, or change the coffee stop. So that we got to figure out a better plan for. I don't know what that is.
So with I'll plug them. What we use for road and track, I'm very lucky in that I make the route, and I have to lead it, and I have to do like the safety talk, and I have to be myself.
I stole your safety talk, by the way.
Did you?
From your McLaren Pebble thing that you repeated on here. I stole it. I tweaked it slightly, but I stole it. Anyway, go on.
They like that. It was good. It was good. Were about that at McLaren. Yeah. And so I do that, but I don't have to do the hotels. I don't have to do the meals. They have events people that do all that shit.
Great.
So that's great. But we use an app called Rallista. It's not free.
Okay.
I don't know what they pay them.
Sure.
But you're not limited. You can literally make the route wherever. It's a GPS app.
Sure.
That will do the exact route you want it to drive.
Does everyone else?
Everyone has to download the app.
Everyone
downloads the app, and you can make whatever route you want to make.
Sounds great.
It's very good.
Do they pay you to promote them?
No,
I feel like they should.
We pay them to use it.
I know. I feel like that should
And I've told fucking Road and Track like 8 times, just buy this company.
Yeah, this just sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
Why don't we buy it? Why don't we call the guys at Microsoft that sold that car store?
It's like 4 dudes, and they're lovely guys. The only point against the map screen does not show up on CarPlay. The audio does.
Fair.
But the map screen works well, but it doesn't show up on CarPlay.
That feels like a little bit of like just a little cash influx.
Like, come on, that's what I'm saying. I said to my boss at Road and Track, if we buy them, we could do that.
Yeah,
we could figure this out. It's not that hard. So
okay, that's a great tip.
I don't know what it costs.
Sure,
but it is a thing.
$4,500.
It's probably crazy expensive.
Yeah, I don't know what it costs. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, no, the app is free, but to have them make you a route.
Sure.
And so anyway, that's helpful, and it automatically reroutes if someone cuts off to go get gas or something.
How do you plot your routes? Is that the same that we do, where you're on Google Maps zooming in and finding the nice twisty right
so
road?
I start on Google Maps and I find the squiggles, drag the route around.
Cool.
You know,
street view to
then I do a street view, check
the
the tarmac. Then I go drive it myself, or if possible. If not, they'll send someone to reality check, and they'll go, "Hey, this road is actually dirt or whatever.
Sure.
We'll change it," and then that's it. Yeah.
So we didn't recce this. Tony had driven the exact route about 3 or 4 years ago. I basically did most of the hotels of ones that I've been to on press trips or whatever that would be. So like
press trips is great scouting for this kind of shit.
Great scouting.
Yeah,
so we utilised a lot of our expertise, but we didn't recce, and we think next time we'll definitely just do at least a recce. But the hardest thing which I found, which I don't know what you guys do, and obviously you've got the Patreon, which I know has been a big success for you, is we're launching a product which fundamentally is a premium product, right?
Sure.
Driving tours aren't cheap, and they can't be to be profitable.
Right.
But I have an audience that are completely varied, and let's be realistic, the majority of my audience will be in £25,000 to £30,000 cars.
Sure.
They're used M2s at best, or Golf Rs and things like that. So how do you create a product that doesn't feel like they're being ignored or forgotten about, but then is also profitable? And so I had this all week. I was going back and forth, and they're the wrong people to ask because they turn up in Ferrari 296 GTDs. And they're like, "Don't worry about them. Forget about them." I was like, "Of course you'd say that." Yeah. But that's my, I got to look after those guys. And that's what I haven't figured out.
Yeah. The you could do 2 tiers. I mean, not at the same time. Where you could do an event in the spring where it's 5-star everything, and guys in 296s will show up. You could do another event that is 2-star hotels and cheaper food and stuff like that, and it'll still cost money. Yeah. But it might attract a different audience. Yeah.
Something like Driving While Awesome does. They do the rallies that are only like 2 days long, and the area they cover is smaller, and usually each individual participant books their own hotels, so they can determine how the cost is. But everyone like group hangs at, affordable restaurants.
Sure.
And we're not driving 1,000 miles, so you have to stay for like 4 nights, or you end up really far from home. Mm-hmm. So that's another way. You'd have to do like regional events because your audience is probably spread out around the world. But I'm sure it's localized.
Road and track ones, we have a pretty decent mix where like there's 20 cars on each one, and there will be Corvettes, 911s, Caymans, Boxsters, stuff like that. Always there's like a Miata or a GTI or a Golf R. Someone will show up in an old Alpha GTV.
Sure.
And it's a good blend, and I don't think the way that it's set, and like if your car is a GTI, this is probably a pretty expensive thing for you to do. It's like $10,000 to $15,000. There's racetrack time included, which is how it ends up getting really expensive. But
it's a tough one.
You're not gonna be able to do it for everybody.
No.
But at a certain point, there's a reason there are not a lot of entry level road rallies. They're just expensive to put on.
Yeah. That's the whole thing, It's a lot to go into, and I think that's fine. Maybe it just needs that explanation. But I just want to make sure that no one thinks I'm pulling I'll bite my tongue, but not making the mistake of misjudging my audience or misunderstanding my audience.
Well, look, you had 10 slots and you sold them out, right?
Yeah, fair, okay.
So if you I don't know, try one that's either shorter or the hotels are more affordable, and try to open it up but every time I've tried to move down market with anything, it's not worked the way that I thought it would. Yeah. Whereas that trip from McLaren that I was talking about, that was $40,000.
Wow.
And they had 40 cars.
Wow.
And it was $40,000, and now this is going to sound a little snobby, but worth it. Because it was 5 nights at Pebble Beach Car Week, it was a night in Ojai, it was tickets to Quail, tickets to Concourse, tickets to this, tickets to that.
If you add it up, you're getting close to that.
And if you add it up, the margins weren't even that thick.
Okay.
But they sold it out because it was to the right people they were targeting, it was worth it.
Yeah, fair. Okay.
I think, though, I respect you for trying to give something to both groups, because I think your audience, and this is true of us, true of any channel, like a lot of your audience are people that don't have 296s, so they have helped make you what you are. And so if you take the kind of brand cachet that they helped build for you and only give that gift to the rich people, holy shit, are we talking, parallels all over the place. But if you can do something for everybody, then and the Patreon has worked really well for us, I think, for that reason, because the people that don't want to spend any money get the same show they always got for free, and then depending on the tier they want to pay for, they get earlier access or they get ad-free experiences. So there's something for everybody.
Fair.
And the people that helped us grow the show don't get fucked.
Yeah.
I think
it's worth trying one.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's exactly it. Just do it as a trial,
one.
and then you can always say, "Oh, look, this didn't work. This is the route we're going in."
Or you can do a different type of event for that group. That's not a driving event. Something else.
The one where people book their own hotels, as long as the route itself has several options of hotels. You go to a city or a town where there is a cheap hotel and an expensive hotel, and they can choose their own adventure, so to speak. That's a way to create an event that feels upscale, but people can cut their own costs, where
Very
they
good
want.
point.
It's worth a try.
Yeah, no, I think we'll try. Well, that's the plan. At least do a couple of trial things, and then see if that can be a new.
How do people find out about those?
Via either of the platforms, so Seen Through Glass or Behind the Glass is the podcast.
Yeah.
So we're trying to make noise about it on both.
Yeah.
So it should be cool.
Yeah.
Got to find a way to stop vlogging at some point. Not that I want to,
I park cars, motherfucker.
Well done.
Well done. I know exactly what you're talking about.
At some point, you got to be like,
what is the next thing?
Yeah. Have something.
Speaking of the Patreon, let's get to that. We've got a bunch of questions. Of course,
cool.
If you want to ask questions of our guests, get the live stream, get the show early, get an ad-free listening experience, and get extra shows, plus special access to early merch drops, etc. Patreon.com/The Smoking Tire Podcast is where you do it. Let's see what we got. Let's start with ones that are just for Sam. Michael says, Sam, if this is very relatable. If you had the budget, What would you spend 7 figures on to put in your garage?
Michael's my kind of guy.
Yeah.
I always default to one of my best experiences, which was one of those GTO engineering 250 short wheelbases.
Oh yeah.
So it's a Ferrari 250 of some variant that they've then rebodied.
It's a GTE or something.
Yeah, they've re-engineered into. And dude, I cried driving that car. Like, I cried because you got to do the full lottery to get the 25, 30 mil to buy the real deal. That's a £1 million car.
Yeah.
So that's my go-to. Because when else? I'm not going to buy that car myself, am I?
Yeah.
So that's my go-to.
1 to 2 million. That's a tough. It's a tough one for me.
Koenigsegg?
No, I'm not.
P1?
I'm not going hypercar. I'm going. I mean, up until recently, that would be like F40 for me. Now maybe it would be Diablo GT or something like that. It would be something analog, but modern enough where I could put some miles on
Carrera
it.
GT.
The factory stick shift 599. Maybe
Sure,
Carrera
yeah.
GT. Carrera GT could be up there.
I like.
Although talking to
GTO.
Doug, the fucking maintenance on the Carrera GT really scares me.
I think that's the terrifying bit. And in the UK, there's still these stop drives at the moment. In the UK, I don't know if that's
no.
all that stuff.
It's like stop until you inspect this thing.
Okay.
But yeah, Doug's car was all right. So he didn't. His stop drive lasted about 6 hours.
That's well. He was already putting suspension on it, so it's fine. But like 4GT, like the team that travels the country to fix those things.
Yeah.
If you don't catch them when they go by in the bus, then you're kind
screwed.
of SOL.
Yeah.
So
I've heard the same for the Valkyries.
Valkyries. Well, they've reached a point now where it's. What are we doing here?
It's just a bit of art. Look at it.
This is kind of silly. Yeah.
Super silly.
Joe says, for 100K, what's your supercar for 100K? Gallardo 360, 430.
No, I think the slept-on car is the 599 of that group.
599.
For 100K, that's a whole load of car. I don't know if it's in that budget. In the UK, it's definitely in that budget.
F1s are $120,000 here.
Okay.
That's the car I would do the manual swap on, is the 599.
That's
rowdy as shit.
That's hold on for your dear life.
But, but
that's
out of the box,
Yeah.
give me an R8 with a stick. Now we're talking.
V10?
Sure.
Or you take the V8?
I like
V8's
the
a
V8.
cruiser.
Not
good.
not for that much money. A V8 with a stick is like a $70,000 car here.
supercharge it.
But
VF
V10 supercharged.
There we go.
Yeah,
None
buddy.
of us are talking about the Gallardo. That's just a bit of a dead car, that money, right?
I mean, it's a fine car, but I'm over 6 feet tall, and for me, it is not a comfortable car. Whereas the R8 is like the same shit and is very comfortable.
Weird, isn't it?
Aaron Geiger says, "What's peak Ferrari?" What is peak Ferrari? And then suggests the 360.
Oh,
but man, 430 Spider with a stick. That's pretty good.
I would have to say my obsession ends around 2010-ish. Like 599 GTO.
Is that a design thing or
Just a vibe, Zach. Just a vibe. Like it's the Schumacher Montezemolo kind of. Cling on to the coattails of that. I think there was the emotion. It was before 458. I don't obsess over, if I'm honest. Like that's a bit of a touch too far for me. Everything afterwards I can say is so good. But if I won the lottery, all the Ferraris I'm buying, I'm going straight away to like 550 Barchettas.
Ooh, 550 Barchettas. That's
thing.
fantastic.
Enzo over a laugh. Like all of that stuff first.
I love the commitment of like, no, there isn't a roof at all.
At all. Like, and it's like just ridiculous.
Fucking great.
And the thing is, it's kind of like a bit floppy, but in the best way possible.
Yeah.
I love the style of it, the fact that Schumacher's in all of the launch photos. I'm like, yep, thank you so much.
Yeah, I forget who it was. It was like I was just found the press photos from the 550 Barchetta. It's just Schumacher doing burnouts
in his race
overalls.
In his race overalls with
good.
the hat. I'm like, that is why I want that car.
Right.
So yeah, that's the stuff I'm buying for.
Randy says, given the choice of any pre-1908 veteran car, what would you like to experience driving? Does driving a veteran EV or steam car appeal? So Zach and I are going this weekend.
Right.
By the time that everyone hears this podcast that's not a patron, we'll have done it. We're going to Rhode Island, to Newport, Rhode Island, to participate in a veteran run, which is like London to Brighton. You know, London to Brighton. It's that, but in America.
Amazing.
And so in London to Brighton,
Yeah.
I think the limit is 1904.
Sure.
Because that's when they got rid of the flag waiver thing.
Okay.
So a car that qualifies for London to Brighton is really expensive because of London to Brighton. That's why. But the cars were basically the same until about 1908. So the one that the Audrain Museum is doing in America opened it up to 1908 because the cars from 1905 to 1908 are basically the same as the ones from 1902 to 1904.
Sure.
But they're like a tenth of the price. So it opens up, it's the same event, just without an arbitrarily chosen year. So we're going to do it. We don't know what we are driving.
But you're driving?
Yeah. We did it before in a 1902 Packard.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So is this the kind of the accelerators, like, something you pull over your shoulder?
Dude,
and
it's
the brake is
there is no standardization of any fucking
Gas pedal
kind.
could be on the left.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Could be a little tiller
none
thing.
of it makes any sense at all.
Does it appeal to you, or?
Yeah, it's novelty.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, when you drive everything.
And it's fascinating to see what used to be, quote, good ideas and how things evolved to all be the same.
I love looking at it. Just not sure I want to jump on board and.
It's an
how long
experience.
how long is the rally?
It's like 20 miles out and 20 miles back.
Okay, it's not London to Brighton.
No, but it'll still take like 4 hours.
Yes.
Well, ours got stuck at about 11 miles per hour.
Our car,
so it took
last time.
quite a while.
It took a long time.
Especially with a hill.
But like there's some of the cars, what they call curve dash olds, the original, the first ever olds.
Okay.
Those will go like 30, 35. And there was a dude in a Stanley steamer, like an actual steam car.
yeah.
That shit will go as fast as like a regular car.
Yeah.
That thing will go 80.
He was flying.
So he was done in like 20 minutes.
People like die on the London to Brighton. Like every 2 or 3 years, someone dies.
Yeah.
We went down a hill. And we hit 28 miles per hour.
We went down a hill.
And the floor was shaking,
that, like,
and the wheels were shaking.
Yeah, death was close.
Wooden wheels?
Wooden wheels.
Yes, wooden
I
wheels.
legitimately started to look at, if I have to jump out of this car,
Yeah.
where am I jumping?
Where do I go?
going? Because I've never experienced that before.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
scarier
you're right.
than
I mean, it's
today.
unique.
So
Sure.
I don't know enough about cars that old to go, well, I'd like to be in this one.
Yes.
But the fucking dice roll of we're going to show up and be handed a car.
My God,
Is
you're
a-
braver than I am.
It's a good time.
It's
Yeah.
hey, good luck.
It's
to you.
very interesting.
Good luck to you.
Is there more? Can we scroll? Okay. I saw this question before. Andy in Colorado. This is interesting. Thoughts on how patriotism spins car reviews. For example, all reviewers love the comfort and styling of Range Rovers, but it seems like UK reviewers are more likely to gloss over reliability issues. Similarly, American reviewers seem to be significantly more positive on the Corvette Z06 versus the Europeans. Have you considered your patriotism, sir?
Well, the fact that I just bang on about Jaguar F-types constantly shows up that I am obviously very
I like an
patriotic.
F-type.
I
F-types
love
are
an
good.
F-type. I think I wouldn't necessarily, because I don't think we're very patriotic anymore, British people. I think we're struggling a little bit with our patriotism.
What happened to change that? No.
I do wonder. From that standpoint, I think it's more like market-specific stuff. So for us, at the moment, Range Rovers, they're just all stolen. So every single Range Rover is stolen. You cannot insure a Range Rover in London anymore.
No way.
It's simply
They're
impossible.
so easy to steal.
Really?
It's literally
Yes.
simply impossible. So an insurer will flat out refuse to the point where...
So like they have like we have the Kia Boys.
Yes.
Have you
Okay.
seen the Kia Boys?
No.
It's so easy to steal a Kia that there's a hashtag on Instagram, Kia Boys, and they're just
Stealing
like
Kias
they're
left,
just
right,
taking
center.
left and right,
That's
and they're just like
insane.
fucking filming it like Kia Boys. Like, yeah. So
Okay,
there's,
so that's the
there's a
Range
Rover
scene.
Boys.
Yeah,
It's
there's the
really
Range Rover
easy.
scene.
Yeah.
And so Land Rover had to create their own insurance product for Range Rover customers because people had these like £120,000 cars turn out, call out the insurance, they'd be like, sorry, we don't insure your cars in London.
That's funny
So
and terrible. but
we
funny.
talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
We don't talk about the reliability too much because I think it's kind of almost like an accepted thing. You know, it's just like a part and parcel. I definitely don't look at it like, oh, up the little Brit. You know, come on,
Yeah.
like that's definitely not it. But I do definitely make market relevant comments, especially on the podcast. We talk about things which I'm very aware doesn't always cross over. I just think the Corvettes are shit. Like that, just flat out.
Have you driven the new ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't drive the Z06 one, to be fair. I drove the standard one.
Uh-huh.
It's crap.
Oh.
Not
Really?
crap. That's so aggressive. I'm just doing it to really rile up your audience. I'm
I'm about to throw your tea in the
Yes.
harbor, my friend.
Thank you. I was disappointed because maybe I misunderstood what it should be. But firstly, yes, I will still go there that the interior and design is not as good as a European. Still,
no,
it's a miles step forward, but it's still not as good. It doesn't all add up and make sense.
True.
I think it's a very soft driving experience. Is that what a Corvette's supposed to be?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So even with the whole move to mid-engine, it's still supposed to be an accessible, soft.
The Corvette's ride is always paramount.
Fine. Okay.
And
that
depending on which one you drive, you've got your standard, you've got your Z51, and then you've got it gets stiffer as you go up.
Sure.
But if you drove a standard one, it would be super soft.
Yeah, super soft, super comfortable. Yeah. Like when you really got it by the scruff of its neck, I was like, okay, I'm starting to sense a little bit. But we took it up to Angeles Crest with a GT500, and I was like, get me back in the Shelby.
Sure,
like, just get me back in the Shelby.
Well, the Shelby is a much more focused product that's more like the Z06 for sure. I mean, I think as Americans, there are a lot of American reviewers that are like real yeehaw America. And I don't really think that's us in particular. When Americans do something really good, you know what I do? I buy the car.
Fair.
I don't go on and on about it in the review. I buy it. Yeah. And in the past, it's usually been Ford that has impressed me enough to buy the car, more so than GM, although I've bought a couple of GM cars. But there are definitely a lot of American reviewers that really lean into the America thing.
Okay.
So it doesn't, I don't think it, I mean, we criticize a lot about the Corvette, although I do think it is a good product.
Yeah, I think cars like that, cars like, the Camaro, they usually are, GM in particular, have really good dynamics engineers. Their chassis engineers are really good. So I like the way the Corvette rides with Z51 because I think it has a wide, a broad skill set. You know, it's really comfortable on shit roads in Los Angeles, but when you take it to the canyons or on like a decent track day, it would be okay with Z51. If you don't get Z51, now you have a sofa. Now you have too much spring, and it's not going to have the focused feel of like a Cayman or something like that. Those tend to be sprung a little stiffer, and I think it feels like a higher quality product. It feels a little bit stiffer, but it definitely doesn't ride as softly as the Corvette
Base model
does.
Corvettes have always been garbage.
Have always been garbage. But maybe there's something in this then, because prior to the drive, I watched a few reviews, and obviously I knew that this car was very well received in America. I knew that people were really like freaking out about it, and so I think I went into it with quite high expectations of, this is going to be a really great car that stepped forward, and I just was like, man, like it's good, but it's not.
Was it a press car?
No, Turo.
Turo car?
Turo car.
So
I mean, again, like, you know.
No, but like all the journalists got Z51s.
Interesting.
We were everybody was driving really highly specified cars with all the cars we were driving. You know, they're like, the car starts at $65,000. Yeah. We were all driving cars that were in the 90s.
Okay.
And highly spec'd cars. Yeah. And whereas if you got a rental car, it probably wasn't.
Sure.
Well, we Turo'd a one that was a Z51 LT1 package. So really, really simple. And the interior definitely didn't look as nice. And I think the architecture of the interior is not great. It had that weird exhaust leak to it.
Yeah, the architecture, exactly.
But I still thought the ride and handling, and as an overall car for the money, I think it's pretty strong in its skill set, in the broadness of its skill set.
Chris wants to talk about, says how frustrating, you've talked a lot about how frustrating it is to make money on new video views because of the algorithms, etc. However, I'm curious to know how much money old videos make. Is monthly YouTube income split something like 60-40 new to old, or is it like 95% to 5%? Hopefully we both have big back catalogs. Hopefully that would continue generating income after you stop generating new content. It's not as much as you think. I thought it was going to be more than it is.
Yeah, I would lean. It's closer to the 95 to 5%, as in 95% new to 5%.
I was going to say it's like 85-15.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
And I genuinely don't know what will happen when we stop publishing new content. If YouTube will go, well, they haven't published anything in a while. Am I going to continue showing this stuff?
When was the last time you took a significant break from uploading?
Never.
Never. What's the longest break you've ever taken?
2 weeks.
Maybe 2 weeks.
Maybe 3.
Yeah.
I've taken, every year I've taken at least 2 to 3 weeks at Christmas, and sometimes 2 weeks in summer. And early this year, I took a month. It is never negatively affected the channel to a point where I'm like, I'm never doing that again.
Oh, really? Okay.
So yes, the revenue drops a ton.
But it comes back.
And often, and the only thing which I've ever considered, often it comes back really strong on that return video.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because the audience are almost waiting or anticipating. I find that it's better to tell the audience.
Right.
So I'm taking a break. It's my last video. I'm going break for Christmas, or I'm going break for the summer. I'll be back in 2 to 3 weeks. They're almost anticipating what that next video will be, and they come in real strong. And then YouTube's like, hey, off you go. But then literally a few weeks ago, I did that New York video with the 3 Mustangs. It bombed. And then I had 2 videos cancelled on me, so I had an empty slot and I had nothing to do. I didn't tell anyone. I disappeared. Then I'm in an algorithm black hole, because then YouTube's like, well.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a weird one, but money-wise, I think if we stop uploading, it would just
it'll disappear. I for a long time was like, with all these videos, I've got a pension.
I can retire.
It's going to keep coming, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Old views don't make a lot of money.
No. It doesn't get put in front of people.
No.
Now, there are definitely stuff that shows up on search, and I'll come across something deep in the catalog that go, oh, well, that's gone up a lot in the last, maybe it did 100,000 views in the first 2 weeks. I never looked at it again. And now it's at 700,000 views that I didn't know about. So it comes in.
For sure.
But I don't know how much those views are worth. And
I think they're less for whatever reason. I think they're less.
Well, if the video was from before when we could put multiple ad breaks in,
well, then you're really.
I haven't gone back to all 1,000 videos and done that
and updating stuff.
Yeah. So, but it's definitely closer. It's I think it's probably 85-15.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
We'll end on Sean's question here. What are each of your proudest moments behind the wheel in any car at any point in your career?
Oh, God.
Proudest moment. I can tell you the other one. I can tell you my most shameful moment.
Most shameful and embarrassing. Does anything come to your head?
Proudest. I once beat Scott Pruitt in an autocross. Anytime there's a stopwatch involved, then I do well.
Yeah, okay.
That you
haven't signed yourself up to as in an invited thing where
just bullshit. You go on these press launches and they'll have a little autocross timed, and I'll be the fastest guy, and I'm like, see, here's why you should watch my video, because I'm better at this than all these people. That's why.
Fair. But if you take yourself on a track day, do you get the same satisfaction?
No.
So
you know why? Because the autocross, same car.
Yeah.
Everyone's driving the same car.
Yeah, leveler.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if
short little track,
if I could smoke 50 people in the same Elantra, now we're talking.
Yes, nice. And you all supposedly do the same thing. Yeah, that's
how often? Because how often do you get to do it in the same car?
Yeah.
So that's a good leveler that I like.
Okay, fair. That's a good proud moment. Mine has to be the F1 car drive.
What F1 car?
2012, Kimi Räikkönen winning Lotus chassis, which...
Why did someone let you drive that?
Dude, do you not know this whole thing?
No.
This is Ed Bolian's #1 video on his channel.
Oh,
so
VinWiki? Yeah.
VinWiki, yeah. So I struck a deal with Infinity when they were sponsoring Renault. God, Formula One's weird. And the deal was coming through, and my agent was like, oh, yeah, they're going to send through what the activities are. And then they sent me a note saying, okay, here it is, review it. And it was first one, a launch in Paris. Third thing, Formula One driving experience. So I was like, hello, what? And it was to go down to Paul Ricard. They still offer this to today. You go down to Paul Ricard, you spend the whole morning in little F4 cars, which are junior single-seaters. And then you get 3 laps in a legitimate 2012 Formula One team-run race car. So this was a chassis that Kimi Räikkönen won the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in. The only tweaks they do, which is for preservation of the car, 6 gears instead of 7, 15,000 RPM instead of 18,000. Otherwise, it's the full car.
Wow.
There's a 20-person team there running the car.
Like a regular person would notice the difference with those things anyway.
And the reason they make it 3 laps, By lap 3, everyone starts getting a little bit confident. Because you spent the entire day in these little Formula 4 cars. By lap 3, everyone starts to go, okay, and then come on in.
And then they crash.
Then they crash.
Everyone's got it, right?
And so my lifelong goal forever was to be a Formula 1 driver. You know, like, so my life went cross wires, all these things like that. Ended up doing
great YouTuber
YouTube.
face right there.
Thank you so much. This was prime YouTube.
You do not look 800 years old in
Thank
that photo.
you. Well, I wasn't. I was a young baby.
Yeah.
That's when, that really would go fire, that content. But dude, it was the absolute peak of everything. You know, I'm sitting there being like, how have I somehow
Were they timing the laps? Or did they intentionally
F4,
not?
I had the same proud moment.
Yep.
Number one, the F4. But dude, it's the wildest thing, and apologies to anyone who's seen that VinWiki video, because it did do one that's been chopped up on TikTok, not by me, thank God. So I'll be repeating myself. But take every experience we've had, right, in super and hypercars. Take a Formula 1 car. Initially, it's everything you expect. So the speed, ballistic. But have you experienced something that will be sort of similar in a straight line? Sort of.
Yeah.
But obviously you're really low to the ground. It's super raw. But the actual acceleration, we've probably all experienced something close. It just keeps going. There's no tail off. It just keeps going. The aero, I don't think you get close to experiencing because the mechanical grip is so high. So the maddest thing is the F4 cars are like big go-karts, right?
Yeah.
They slide around everywhere. Every corner you're hard braking, the back steps out. The Formula 1 car,
None.
glued to the road. It's so easy to drive. It's so easy to drive. But to get the aero working, you've got to be going real flat.
Had you driven an aero car before that?
Driven an aero car before that, but I think the moment got the better of me. So I was so overwhelmed by the emotion and the experience. I was just sitting there the whole time going, I'm driving a Formula 1 car, I'm driving a Formula 1 car. That I should be like, okay, what do I do? Have I got 3 laps? What do I do? And so there's a long right-hander at Paul Ricard, which is this track in the south of France, which is now the French Grand Prix home. In the Formula 4 cars, you build up to doing it flat. And you do it flat in the Formula 4 cars. You get in the Formula 1 car, you go, I can't do that flat. Because it's all in your head. Of course, the Formula 1 car is geared to do it flat way more than the Formula 4 car. But you're just in your head, you're going fast, you're in a Formula 1 car, so you just keep backing out. And that's where the aero would really impress you. So only thing, which again, this is repeating myself for people who've seen the clip, I spoke to a friend of mine, Ollie Webb, racing driver on Instagram. I spoke to him before. I said, look, Ollie, what do I need to know going into this? I want to get the maximum out of the experience. He said, it's all about the brakes. The one thing that you'll never understand are the brakes, or you won't be prepared for the brakes. Hit them as hard as you possibly can. And the prep for the cars you get in, you have 2 pedals. You're in stirrups. So you accelerate on the right, brake on the left. You're in stirrups. And before you're allowed to go out, they said put as much pressure as you can on the brake pedal. Like any race car, the brake pedal is like a brick wall. You don't feel any movement. So I'm pushing down with all of my force. They're like, that's 40%. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, you need to be at like 60 to 80% for every corner. So they're like, push. I'm like, my back's in the car. I'm like, oh. They're like, there you go, that's it. So I'm like, hit that every time.
Plus you have the momentum of braking and moving, pushing you forward like when you're actually moving. But wow.
So as I go around and I'm going down, hurtling down the straight on turn one, I just hear Ollie's voice just going, just smash the brakes as late as you can, smash brakes, you'll be fine. And I see the 150 meter board, 100 board, 50 meter board. I think that's my marker. Slam on the brakes as hard as I can. Head goes flying forward into the cockpit. I'm like, can't see anything. I just assume that there's an apex. So I throw the car in. It turns, glued to the road. I'm out the other side. I'm like, wah! Best moment of my entire life. Get back. Again, 40% brake pressure. It was the maximum I hit. So that's what I think I would implore you if you ever get any, because there are a few people that do this kind of experience. These guys are the best. They're called Winfield, based down in Paul Ricard. It's the closest you get to an actual Formula 1 car. A lot of the other ones change engines and things like that. This is the real deal. A bit old now, 2012, but they're just about to put in a 2016 or 17 car to replace it. Yeah, same advice that Ollie gave me. Smash that brakes as heavy and as late as you can, and that's where you go, oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and it makes you aware of the brain capacity of a Formula 1 driver.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing, which was, how are they doing all of this and managing tires and thinking of strategy and racing
fucking settings on the wheel, like in between the corners, forget it.
All of it, and maxing it out. And we had a guy called Jack Aitken who's done a few fill-in races for Williams. Came and did that hack attack board, it's called, when the lights up and you hit out different things. We had a minute, and I think our top score was like 53 or 56. He had 30 seconds. He did 138.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I mean, it's like
Yeah.
Just reaction time, ability to multitask.
Yeah.
It's just unmatched.
So it was wild. So that for sure is the moment that I wish I could go back and actually live in more, because I was just so in my head the whole time. I stalled it. I was the only person the whole day to stall it. So.
Okay. Hammond installed it all kinds of times.
Yeah,
remember?
exactly.
Yeah.
So I didn't feel too bad, and it gave me a bit more time in the car. So.
What do you think? So you're a Ferrari fan and an F1 fan. What do you think of Lewis's move? I'm sure you've talked about this, but
yeah, it's huge for Formula One. It's huge for him. There's so many ways that I look at it. Right, Leclerc has to beat Hamilton for the future of Formula One. Leclerc has to beat Hamilton.
Yeah.
Will he? I'm not sure. What does that mean for Leclerc? What does that mean for Formula One if the 40-whatever-year-old Hamilton can just saunter into that team and demolish him? I'm a Hamilton fan, so
me too.
But
I think it also means a lot. If Lewis went in and started getting even near Leclerc, like really near, it would mean so much for Mercedes too, because then it would really highlight that it's the car. Because him and Russell kind of swap spots, and they're always behind. But now you've got Sainz and Leclerc, like Dice, and Sainz is amazing. I'm a big fan of his. But then Leclerc outqualifies him, and you go, "Fuck, which one of these is the right choice?" Like, yeah, it's crazy.
So hard to know. And I think at the end of the day, I think last year was a good example of Hamilton. When he finds the car, that performance is still there. I think he's kind of written this season off. He just wants to get out of there. That car looks like a dog. And Russell's undeniably a great talent. So I think it will take him half a year. We've got to give him half a year in that Ferrari. Mm-hmm. I think towards the end of that first year, so end of 2025, if he's close to Leclerc, I'll be like, we're on. 2026, happy days. He's got a lot to lose, but then I guess who cares? What does he care at this point?
Yeah.
He's proven everything.
Yeah, I think he's all right. He's starting to, like, his clothing line is like coming out.
It's a better band to be associated with moving forward. So,
he just wants that eighth man. I think that's eating at him.
2026 is the year, right? Because next year, no matter what, Max will win it again.
Yeah.
So we got to close that off. But 2026
we just have to hope
is
Max
the
gets
year.
bored and like, all
well,
right.
He could. I mean, he could.
And Adrian Newey today said he's hinting at maybe leaving Red Bull.
Could be going to Aston Martin.
Big change up.
Yeah, buddy. Well, thanks for stopping by.
Dude, thanks for having me. This has been so much fun.
I'm glad you called.
100%.
Enjoy Airwater. I'm sorry we're not going to be there. We accepted this gig in Rhode Island before that event was announced. And we're going to be having fun too. But like everyone's coming to town and going to Airwater, and I'm bummed I'm not going to go, especially because, Patrick and Jeff are great, and they put on a great show. You'll have a good time.
I'm sure. I'm super excited.
Seen Through Glass, all the places, seenthroughglass.com. Sign up for his next drive when he fucking puts it up. Dude. Behind the Glass, the podcast, and Instagram, social media, all the fucking things.
All that stuff.
Good to see you, brother.
Cheers, dude.
Thanks to our patrons for asking good questions this time. We will have 2 shows this coming weekend. I think they might be live. Maybe. We'll see. We'll try. We got Wayne Carini on Saturday. We got Donald Osborne on Monday. Those are going to be fun in front of a studio audience in Newport, Rhode Island, after the veteran run. So we'll see you then, and bye.